Hello, and welcome to issue 640 of Geek in the City Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Duran.
I'm one of your other hosts, Binarita.
And I am your other host, Cable Hashtani.
How's it going, Erwan?
It was going fine, but then you started making this weird voice, and I'm a little bit confused now.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just trying to...
Now we've got sirens going on in the background.
I was just trying to make a happy-go-lucky voice. The past few weeks, I've always opened with, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, you've been a little stressed lately.
Yeah, hi, Chris. I'm Nero. My favorite line of that.
You will never get tired of that joke.
I will nener get tired of that. It's just the most mono delivery, and I don't know why, but for me, it's just so perfect.
Hi, Chris. I'm Nero.
So yeah, how's everybody doing?
It's a Tuesday.
Little frazzled.
Yeah. Why?
Christian's out of town, and so like I have to be responsible for myself 24/7.
Oh
like,
no.
There's like no other stimulus in the house to like help make sure that I am awake. Like normally, like I hear like other people moving around the house, getting ready, then makes me more aware of the fact that it is morning and it is the time where things should be happening.
Are you just quickly reverting to feral mode?
No. I mean, it's only Tuesday, so there hasn't been that much time for me to regress. But it is a struggle. It is still a struggle. Like I had to make my own coffee, and this morning the coffee maker wouldn't work. Yesterday I had a 9 a.m. appointment, which means I had to get up at 7, you guys. 7 o'clock in the morning. Which is early for me these days.
Okay.
It is. No, it's not ungodly by any means. I used to do it every day for years, or earlier. But it's not what I'm used to anymore in my current job. And so it's a struggle, like get ready, be on time to things. And then on Tuesdays, unless Christian has rehearsal, in a different part of town, he will pick up dinner for us such that he is arriving home right when I'm getting home. And then all of the time between arriving and showtime is when I can eat and sort of like decompress from, driving in traffic across town at 5:30 in the afternoon.
Right.
Gotcha.
And I don't have any of those support structures. It's just me, and I'm not very good at taking care of myself anymore.
Well, how much longer are you going to be solo?
Really just like another day or two. It's not. Yeah, no, it's
an eternity, in other words.
And Tyrion is of no help.
Oh well, no, I told him to take the dog with him.
Oh shit! So you are really solo.
Yes. I'm like I do not have the capacity to do everything right for myself if I also have to deal with the dog. Because he's on a particular feeding schedule. He has separation anxiety. And he's also not used to being home alone 9+ hours a day.
That's true, yeah.
Meanwhile, he's just holed up in a cabin somewhere. So I'm like, take him with you.
They're just having a grand old time.
He's holed up in a cabin?
Yeah, he's on a writer's retreat. So
cabin in the woods.
It's actually like an Airbnb on the coast or whatever, but yeah, the gist is the same.
Yeah.
I can like pee with the door open, which is great.
Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Let's unpack that for a minute here. Out of all the things that I know I get excited about when I have a couple of nights the house to myself completely, peeing with the door open doesn't even factor in one of my little simple pleasures.
I don't know. It's just kind of nice not to have to care about whether or not someone else is in the house when you have to use the bathroom.
What? I guess.
Look, go check the chat. I bet other people will be like, yep, love using the bathroom with the door open.
All right, I'll
I
wait.
guarantee it. I mean, it's not like at the top of my list. It was
just imagining you like on the toilet and be like, la la la, I am pissing on myself in the house.
On myself?
I said by
and
myself.
Why am I singing? It's
I don't know.
It's still a normal process of using the toilet. I can just do it with the door open. I don't
Homicidal
think it's that weird.
firepower.
You're making it weirder than it ever needed to be.
La, da, da, da.
I also can watch whatever I feel like and not
Now
talk
that's
to
cool.
anybody if I don't want to, and eat whatever I like. I made meat yesterday. I made a whole feast of just things I like yesterday.
All I had was flesh and pissing with the door open. It's been paradise. Well, you just kind of reminded me of like that Seinfeld episode when it was the summer of George, and he's like, "And I'm gonna eat a wheel of cheese, baby." Like that was his goal.
I'd like to rewind and unhave this conversation with you.
No, and yet you can't.
And yet it's been recorded for posterity.
Uh-huh.
I know. That's why I want to
Instead.
rewind and unhave it. Things
You're
that are
lucky
not actually possible.
You're lucky I already picked a name for this episode. Otherwise I wouldn't do that because I would never hear the end of it.
No, you wouldn't.
No.
That would be unwise.
Yes.
Don't do that.
He has chosen poorly.
Poorly.
Okay.
I also know more about Kevin right now than I needed to know.
Yeah, we know a lot about Kevin now in the chat. Thanks for that.
Yep.
Thanks, buddy.
And it is already being speculated that Aaron, you're not going to survive to make it to issue 2.
Joke's on you. All
It's already
been
in the
written
can.
already. Ha!
Don't give away the magic. The kids don't know that.
Yes, they do. They had
Yeah,
to.
they do.
Sure, they do, but now it ruins the joke. I'm
feel
sorry,
like
Brad, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that Aaron ruined your joke like that.
Oh my God. It's always going to come back to my fault. She's like, finally, you understand our friendship.
It only took you like 8 years.
Yeah, well, I'm a slow learner.
This is true.
What takes longer, breaking into comics or becoming friends with Denise?
No. Becoming friends with me historically is quite easy.
That's true.
It's staying that way that is
Yeah.
is the challenge.
I like how that went into a deep thought mode as you did it. You're like,
Right. Well, because I meant it as a joke about like how once you get on the wrong side of me, like there's no coming back. There's an entrance door, there's an exit door, and once you go out the exit door, like you can't circle back around, you know?
Right.
But then I was just sort of thinking about like how like what a fucking feral child I am, and like how like, maybe people don't want to be my friends. So
I like being your
once
friend.
they get to know me, they're like, nope, let's go. We're out of here.
Also, once you read the chat, I will no longer be the person you're gonna go after. Just go ahead and
Oh, you talking about P and Rita?
Yes.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it, Zach. Thanks.
I'm going to derail this topic altogether. Denise,
no.
what's going on behind you?
Oh, you think this like thing that like this mobile all of a sudden?
Yes.
That is my drying rack where I dry herbs and sage bundles that then stay up there for a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
also
followed
my
that.
plant
Why
and
was
my
it suddenly
tiny plants.
moving?
Because I
Oh, you
smacked
gestured.
plants.
Okay.
Yeah.
I missed the part where you hit it and it was just suddenly moving. And I'm like,
What's behind you?
go.
no,
I
I,
saw her
didn't
hit
think
it.
of that.
I know. I saw her hit it a little bit, but it was still like, whoa, look at him move.
I was trying to play it off legit and like not acknowledge that had happened. So thanks for that.
I'm helping.
Should we talk about something else besides what a weirdo I am right now?
Sure.
We can talk about what a weirdo Aaron is.
Yeah. Because
Fantastic.
I channel my weirdo-ness into writing stories
Oh.
for the whole world to see. Yeah. Hey, I got a comic book coming out tomorrow, and that's kind of awesome.
Woo!
That's tomorrow if you're listening live. Today, if you're listening to the podcast right now.
Or yesterday if you listened to it on Thursday.
Yeah.
Ooh. Man, we're getting some Picard season 2 shit going on here now. God damn it, Zach.
No, Kevin.
Sage
No.
advice.
Get out.
Kevin.
No.
Kevin. We need a digital spray bottle. Psst, bad Kevin.
I know, like, no, hey. like, I do that all day at work. Can I not?
Wow. So yeah.
Now I have questions. But go on, Aaron. Please go on.
Season of Bruja #1 drops tomorrow at every comic book shop in the country and like in the world. It is showing up in it's already in Spain. I saw a couple of stores in Madrid have it, which is cool. Last week it actually appeared in London, so much so that I kind of freaked out and thought that like it like the date had been moved and I was the last one to know. It's like I texted Sean, my editor, and I was like, hey, I'm seeing this as like, hey, this is our Wednesday pull for this week. Check out this comic. It's pretty great. I said, did it come out today? This was last Wednesday. I said, did it come out today? And like, no one told me. She's like, no. And I said, well, there's a shop in London that already has it. She's like, I don't know. So I wrote a friend who runs a comic book shop that I have a quick access to. And it wasn't Michael, somebody else. And he came back to me a couple hours later. He's like, yeah, it's actually not uncommon for the UK to get US books a week before the US does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's weird. So
thanks, Diamond.
Yeah. But issue 1 hits all the stores everywhere tomorrow. Thanks everybody in the chat saying congratulations. Danko. It's cool. So yeah, there's Norm, you dick. So yeah, and there's both covers. There's the cover Sarah did, and then there's a variant cover done by Naomi Frank, which is gorgeous. So yeah, hopefully every store got both covers if they chose to buy both, because they're both gorgeous. So I have signed some copies for Bridge City Comics. That's where I spent my morning today, was signing a bunch of covers, most of which are going to his mail order customers, but he's some for the shelf. But 40 of them that I signed went to a certain Nat West of Reverend Nat's Hard Cider, because he just launched the Aaron Duran Cider Pack. So Reverend Nat bought 40 issues from Bridge City Comics. And if you go there now to the Reverend Nat's online shop and you order a 4-pack of 400 rabbits, you will get, if you were the first 40, you will get a signed copy of Season of the Bruja issue 1, which is that's pretty cool.
Well, that is decidedly cool, friend.
Yeah,
I just saw that in my newsletter from Reverend Nat.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Norm's like, what? Yes, that's true, Norm. And I don't know if that counts mail orders. I don't know. Maybe, because I know he can ship to Texas now, I believe.
I don't know.
There's only one way to find out.
That's true. And then tomorrow, Wednesday, from 4 to 6, I will be signing copies at Cosmic Monkey Comics.
It's really happening. This is...
Yeah, I know. It's really happening.
You're like doing the whole junket, man.
I know. Like Ring kind of felt bad that he didn't offer to do with signing, but I get why, and I do agree with him. Like, Bridge City Comics is not that big, and we're still not super comfortable with being around a bunch of people during a signing. But if you've ever been to Cosmic Monkey Comics, they have a lot of airspace. It is a very large building with which you can feel more comfortable if there's a larger gathering of people. So and Andy and Adam they're cool and all that stuff.
Yeah, I like them. They're actually the closest shop to me, and
that's true.
It's nice in there.
There is a very good chance I will be having Dews before the signing, because I haven't had Dews Grill in far too long.
Ooh,
is Adam back?
Oh, I didn't know. Is he gone? Ooh, did I just say something really awkward?
Adam left the country in 2019.
Oh, I had no idea. To be fair, I really only interact with Andy.
Last I saw anything on Facebook, Adam was going hiking across the globe and left the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, how long does that take?
Walking the globe?
Between from when he left and now, there's been a global pandemic, so I don't know. I don't know where he is.
Oh, right, 2019. That's before times.
the just before times.
Right. Although, no, never mind. I was like, it's probably the best time to go hiking in the world because you'd be away from all the people. Borders. There's still borders you have to deal with. So I'm just going to stop talking now.
Many of which closed down.
Right.
During the COVIDs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what's happening in my world right now. Other than other things that I can't talk about. Bean and Cable know, but they are a trusted circle. They live within the cone of silence.
Largely.
Yeah. So yeah, and as I can say more, I will definitely say more. But yeah, March has been a month, y'all. I looked back and I was like, everything has happened in March. Everything.
When it rains and pours?
Yeah, I guess.
Is March typically a busy month for you?
I mean, no.
Okay.
Not that I remember.
Like I always have. I always assume people have a busy month where everything that happens to them always happens in that month, and then everything else, the rest of the year, is mitigating the fallout of all of that.
Like, I used to think that March 16th was a lucky date for me.
Why?
Why?
Just like dumb 13-year-old girl stuff that we're not going to get into, but just like at a certain age, I was like, nope, the good things always happen on March 16th.
Okay, I mean,
yeah, that sounds like a teenage girl. Thanks.
Yeah. I was also really into numerology as a tween, so.
Oh.
Well, once you get into astrology, it's just like a downhill slide from there.
Right.
So now that you are the published author of a comic book from a well-known and well-established comic book publishing company.
Yeah.
So this is 5 issues.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 issues, and then a trade will happen, I believe, sometime in October.
Cool.
I think. Don't hold me to that. I could be wrong.
I 100% believe that you should live in the moment and enjoy all of this, and definitely pat yourself on the back along with everyone else who is patting you on the back, because you have worked very hard for this, and this is fantastic.
Thank you.
So with that said, there is the question of like, so now what? What do you want to do now?
I mean, I've got.
Yeah, not of what's next. It's like, what do you want to do? It's like you've now achieved a thing. Now what do you want to do?
Keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I really need people to reserve issues 2 through 5. Also, just the annoying thing of comics is like, yeah, there's the comics definitely has the sophomore slump of the issue 2 also, which is just an issue with comics.
It is why issue 2s are more valuable for collectors than issue 1s, because there's always fewer of them.
Almost, yeah. Because they base issue 2 on, because they run their own numbers. So in a weird way, comics is a self-fulfilling prophecy when it comes to that also. So anyway, yeah. When you pick up issue 1, make sure they order. In fact, tell them just through 2 through 5. It's just easier. Yes, fucking Kevin. Apart from Scarlett, when the movie comes out after Scarlett Johansson, who would you like to see in it?
Point of order. Scarlett Johansson only plays Asians. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's right. No, you're gonna have to get like a
I do feel like there's a white woman out there that has been playing a lot of Latinas. I don't know who that is, but I'm sure there is one.
That would be Jeanette Goldstein, who I love. It's so weird, especially when you're like a Mexican American person and you grow up absolutely idolizing Vasquez. And every brown person has that moment when they find out, wait, Vasquez is white Jewish person from Brooklyn, which nothing wrong with any of that, but like I know for a fact like Vasquez is looked upon as like, especially for a lot of Latinas, they're like her. That's who. That's she. That her
for a long time.
Yeah, and then
there weren't really any other examples like her.
Yeah, and you're like, oh man. So yeah, she. Oh my god, I forgot.
It's like Natalie Wood playing a Maria.
Right.
No, but it turns out Natalie Wood was actually part Hispanic.
Was she?
I had a whole conversation about it when we watched the new one, because the woman who played and now I'm not going to remember any of the names, like the aunt, the girlfriend, caretaker. She won an award, and she was like the first like out Latina American.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the one who just won, you mean?
Yeah, for the new version.
Yeah, and Norma's right now, and also Jeanette Goldstein now makes handmade lingerie as one of her main jobs.
Cool.
It's funny, Norm. Mark Bernardin is totally somebody I would love to talk to if a show were to ever get put together. But I definitely would want a very heavy Latin writer's room. Not completely, because I don't know. I don't think it needs to be completely that, but at least half. How's that?
Lol, lies. Natalie Wood was of Russian descent.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything.
I had to remember the conversation and just look it up. But like, Natalie Wood is not her real name, so
right.
Duh.
What were we saying? Oh yeah. Wait, what were we saying?
We were talking about what would you like to do now?
Well, again,
because comics is an industry of it's not what you've done, it's what are you doing now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've got tons of stories I want to do, both with these characters and brand new stuff. Dial F Refuti is still happening. Just got to work out some crunchy details on that. I don't know. Like, I still really want to do a Western.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I don't know what, but I want to do a Western, and it'd probably be a weird Western. Like,
I feel like it wouldn't be based on, but it would be heavily influenced by your playthrough of a certain well-known game.
Yeah, she might show up in that.
Yeah.
Although those stories aren't weird per se. They're very like to the genre, I guess.
Yeah, it was meant to be very pulpy, as like written in a dime novel,
sure,
type thing. And that was also me working out a lot of feelings about our society during that time period. It was either that or just screaming on Twitter, and I was like, that's not healthy. I'll just write about her. I'll just create this character.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like it'd be fun to do like a weird Western of a certain time period. Like, I love the fact that, like, what was it? We always think about like samurai being centuries and centuries ago, but like during the Mexican Revolution, like there were still samurais, and like weird, like Edwardian, like there were just these things that you think are all different time periods, and like they weren't. So the idea of doing like a Magnificent Seven type comic, but it's taking all these different elements, and putting them into one thing, that'd be fun.
Hell, there's a Western that has a samurai in it.
Which one's that?
It's called Red Sun or Rising Sun.
Oh shit, that's right. Yeah.
With Charles Bronson and Toshiro Mifune.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Fuck, I forgot about that.
I randomly came across it one day, like on TNT when I was a kid, going, "The fuck is this?"
Yeah, I do remember that now. I haven't seen it, but I remember reading about it and seeing like a trailer of it.
I think I've only seen like the last half hour of it,
Right.
and again, it was the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But it's like it's still the same time period.
Right. You know, I wouldn't mind doing another pirate book. I like writing pirates is fun.
Sure.
Like you get to kind of cut loose a little bit. And after watching Our Flag Means Death, I am definitely in a pirate mode right now.
Oh man, I still need to
Oh,
catch.
that show. Did you watch it, Cable?
I haven't watched it yet.
Any of
Yeah.
it?
Mm-mm.
We'll hold off.
Oh well, I won't pump it up too much because I know how you feel about that. But it is an instant favorite to me.
Yeah.
I really like that idea, Aaron. So I was watching the most recent season of Miracle Workers, which is the Oregon Trail season.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't remember what it was, but it got me thinking. I'm like, you know what? The westerns are, or frontier, because that is more frontier specific. They're always very insular. It just seems like a completely all-encompassing time in history. Like, well, this is just the way things were. I'm like, no. If you just go back east, there are entire cities, like massive buildings and streets, and like electricity is right around the corner. But the old west and the frontier stuff is so like rugged and like almost archaic by comparison. And you're like, people chose that. Like people left established societies and like civilization with in air quotes to go do these other things and then live a harder life. And so because when those things are portrayed in media as just this one part of it and not what's going on in the other parts of the world, you forget that the way those things overlap. And I think I would enjoy seeing more stories that acknowledge, like, okay, yeah, everyone's living out in the dirt over here and cooking over a campfire, but there's all this other shit going on at the same time over here.
Right. Yeah, that would be fun to play with. And there's a lot of, trying to think. There's like a lot of, I don't want to, maybe icon's the word. There's a lot of like iconic elements of history. Boy, I'm just murdering this thought process. Like when you say cowboy, the genre pops in your head immediately. You think westerns. You say samurai, and it evokes a time period in your head. Or like if you bring up like Arab Bedouins, that it puts a time period in your head. But there was literally a time, like a 20-year span, where they all overlapped in history. I'm not saying geographically, but like historically, they could all actually be on some weird ass team.
Right. Like what's that meme about how Abraham Lincoln is closer to the advent of the fax machine than he was to. Now I'm not going to remember what it was, but
I know what you're saying though. Yeah. Yeah.
My example of that is that the early cowboy movies, the early westerns, the people that consulted on it are named historical figures from the Wild West.
Yeah.
Like Wyatt Earp consulted on movies.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
remember,
right. So that's that time period.
It's like, well, I don't mean if you remember this, like when the movie Tombstone ends, like the narrator comes back and he talks about how Wyatt Earp and Josephine had many adventures together. Like Wyatt Earp died in like, was it like 1930 something or something?
Yeah.
And he talks about like some of the attendees at his funeral were some of the earliest performers in westerns. It ends with, and Tom Hicks wept. Yeah.
There's a movie with Bruce Willis and Robert Garner called Sunset. That is Bruce Willis plays Tom Nix, who was one of the earliest movie cowboys, and Garner plays Wyatt Earp. And their friendship and how he was a consultant to movies early on.
Right.
So yeah, like you're talking about how the East Coast was very advanced and it was the West Coast that was all literally the Wild West. But yeah, it caught up to them very quickly.
Right.
Hi.
And this whole
and that's
kind of thought can like could potentially lead us into like a much bigger conversation about like the speed at which we learn new things and word hard. You know what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily want to derail us that far. All this just to say, I think that's a really good idea, Aaron, and I would be very interested to see that.
Okay, great.
Exactly.
I'll work on it. And then I have like some historical fictions that I always want to play around with. Not to take away from anything from like Coyote and Crow, what they're doing in a role-playing game, but like I've often thought about, a story of how would the world unfolded and how much fun could you have as a creator if the Spanish had failed.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I'm not saying the Aztec Empire would still be around because they were not helping. They weren't doing themselves any favors either by the time Cortez arrived. Because like all empires, there was a quickly growing gap between the very rich and the very poor, and money was being wasted on frivolous things by the ruling class. It's almost as if the same thing happened in Rome and in every major empire in human history. What? It's as if we never learned. But like in my head, I begin to extrapolate that. Like, okay, they push back the Spanish. So what happens? They get a huge jump in technology, because like guns are going to get left behind. And, the Aztecs, the people of that era and that time were like not dumb. You just, as a rule, humans don't create something if they don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they didn't have a need, well, I mean, like it's that cliche. Yeah, historically, it's the whole cliche of necessity is the mother of invention or whatever. Yeah, why try to develop certain metal alloys if what you have works? Like, there's nothing to push you along for that. I feel like a lot of what really pushed a lot of the technological advancements in Europe is that's a continent for like almost a millennia lived in some form of warfare and anarchy with each other. Mm-hmm. And not the people, the rulers. Mm-hmm. And if you're constantly at war for centuries, you keep developing things to make war better for you.
Yes.
But in my head, I'm like, okay, some certain technology gets left behind. They weren't shocked by boats and ships. They knew what those were because remember, their main capital was built in a lake, so they clearly knew, how
to traverse water.
Yeah, and how to build an empire, literally on top of it. So in my head, this comes with my combination of me wanting to do a pirate story again. I was like, what would the golden age of piracy been like if all of a sudden, Tenochtitlan is also a seagoing empire? Like, what happens when during the golden age of piracy? So let's see, 200 years later, after Cortez tried to take the Aztec Empire, the Spanish and the French and the English and the Dutch all show up again. But oh shit, those islands they would have taken in the Caribbean, those are now run by whatever the Aztec Empire evolved into, and they have boats now. They have ships now too. They figured out gunpowder and cannons too. And like, hey, oh crap, instead of them firing steel balls, they created the first flechette round, and they're firing massive shards of obsidian. I mean, they have like, yeah, see? And
That's
like,
hot.
yeah, and then like, with their own religious things, instead of like white sails, what if their sails are like these overlapping fabrics and they fucking look like the winged serpent? And like that's what they like that's what the European powers show up, and like, fuck, now what? So actually, that's a really cool idea. I should quit talking.
Yep.
Everyone ignore what I just said.
There's suddenly a huge chunk of the podcast that's missing.
Insert file here.
Just a long beep over this whole section.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, no, it's more funny if it's you leave in all the ands and the thes.
Right.
But any key words, just bleep those out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah, that was a long way to say I want
think of a different podcast.
Which one? Oh, is this a private thing later?
No, it's I don't always need to advertise other podcasts on this show. I recently started listening to The Adventure Zone.
Oh, yeah, that's got a lot of But
yeah, that first story is a lot of redacted information.
Yeah.
And
like the first Tombstone commentary.
Right.
We don't talk about it. It's our Bruno.
I still haven't watched that. I did watch Turning Red though.
Oh, it's so good. So
It
yeah,
really
I want to keep writing. I mean, I know it sounds like a cliche answer, but I want to keep doing stuff.
That's fantastic.
I'd love to parlay some of this into like, there was a time where all I wanted to do was write for like DC.
Mm-hmm.
That has stopped being a goal of mine. I'm not saying I would turn it down, but
it's not the end all be all.
No. That being said, like I have an idea with a couple characters that would be fun to play with. And if I got the chance even to do like a story in an annual or an 80-page giant, something like that, yeah, that'd be cool. I actually have a really big story that involves Penguin because I still don't feel like DC has ever properly done a Penguin story yet. And there's characters in Marvel that I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. I would jump at it, but it's not oh my God, my dream forever has been to write Batman or the Amazing Spider-Man. It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have a Batman story that I want to tell or an Amazing Spider-Man story.
I feel like you did when you were younger.
Oh yeah, I totally did.
But I think that changes as we get older. There are different characters that we identify with.
Yeah. I would still fucking love, and I don't even know if this would be marketable. Maybe there's a reason no one can get the rights to it or whatever. I would love to do a friggin' comic book sequel with Monster Squad.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Shocking,
right? Yeah. That'd be fun. And then, the one, and this is no surprise to anyone, but like the one sandbox I really will do anything to play in is Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Like in any capacity, I would love to just have my name in Star Trek someday. Like that is the dream, So yeah, there you go. That's it. That's what I want to do next.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks. Yay. Yeah. What do you guys want to do? I'm so burned out right now. Yeah.
Right now or like in life?
Right now, I think this is a perfect time for a break.
That is a good time for a break. Let me. Yes. We screen cap this so I know exactly when to insert said commercial. Does that mean we're all coming right back really quick, or?
Just so that you can have a clean break and then we can just move on.
Yeah. Boy, I should be better at this by now. And we're back. Yeah. So what else is going on?
Well, I know that I watched
barely awake.
The last 2 episodes of Avatar. I think it comes down to whether or not Denise did.
I did.
Oh, okay. I
by the skin
know,
of my teeth, but I did it.
like, I remembered last night. I'm like, oh, son of a bitch, I need to watch this. This is at
I need
like
a
11
better
o'clock at night.
I need a better way to set the reminders because right now I started using Asana to like keep track of all my shit. And so I have a task that repeats weekly around and over the weekend to be like, don't forget to watch your Avatar episodes. And I don't get notified of it in an effective way. And
Mm-hmm.
so there I am. I forgot on Sunday. I forgot on Monday. So I had a very busy lunch of like trying to shovel food in my face while also typing out notes.
We also did establish early in this episode that you're not responsible for yourself.
Yes, we did. Yes,
Yes.
we absolutely established that. And I really appreciate that we're all on board for this.
Yes, 100%.
I'm baby.
Well, I know Aaron has been busy, so we can definitely take the football and run with it. These were the last two episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender for season 1.
Yeah.
And it was a two-parter called The Siege of the North. We had already we got to the Northern Water Kingdom in the last episode, and this is now the arrival of the Fire Nation to attack. So part 1 summary on IMDb is, while Katara herself becomes a great waterbending master, Commander Zhao plans a siege on the Northern Water Tribe. Meanwhile, Sokka is on a mission to stop this siege while Aang tries to buy them some time.
A lot going on here. Everyone has a separate goal / mission. And it's basically a war episode.
Yep. And I think there are a lot of things that happen in both this episode and part 2 that kind of solidify comments that I've made about Admiral Zhao this entire thing, where he's like, oh, he's your actual villain for this.
Yes.
Because
they definitely start out implying that Zuko is the enemy here, but as you get to know the character more, and like I said, you haven't spoiled on it, but it was hinted to you that like this is a character who is here for the sake of development and learning and just evolving, and is well, I actually expected that he was just going to be one of those like sympathetic villains. Is you know, which is now so common, but I couldn't really speak to what the villain archetype was in these years exactly. But no, then they roll out Admiral Zhao, and then you get to realize, oh no, he's the real bad dude here, because there's no history or potential of goodness in him that we've seen.
No, the backstory that we get to him is that he's a jerk.
Absolutely.
He is a short-sighted jerk. His ambition for power and glory outweigh any ounce of common sense. And when we meet his former master who taught him firebending, they went, oh no, he's always been this way. He was like this when he was a kid. Fuck that dude.
We also get to spend a lot more time with the Northern Water Tribe, who are the only other water-bending people, I believe, besides the Southern tribes that Katara and Sokka come from. Is that correct?
Yeah, because the air tribes are nomadic. The earth and fire tribes both have tracts of land that they run, but both water tribes are relegated to the north and south poles of this world
and are seafaring. I had not actually noticed that they are divvied up in that way.
Mhm.
It makes perfect sense. But I had not actively noticed that they've correlated them in that very clear and obvious way.
They've got the map that's there at the opening and closing of, like, it's underneath the credits often. So like when they first open and close the show, I just don't like the fact that it's always a map and we don't have a globe that shows us what this world looks like. I think, like, but you're right. We meet a lot of people. There's the leader of the water tribe, his daughter, who's the princess. She's betrothed to someone else, but becomes a love interest for Sokka.
Han, that guy's name is.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
He was a little bit of a shithead.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it seems like past tense there. Because he also was not that great of a soldier, it turns out.
That wasn't surprising at all. I feel like they definitely didn't show the carnage, but a lot of people died this episode over these two episodes. Like, there's a lot of death. They don't show it. It's not on screen, but there's some dead people.
And they do tell you that that's going to happen. They have that almost like a religious ceremony before the Fire Nation arrives, where the Water Tribe elder, they like show all of the Water Tribe elders, and I think flat out says, like, a lot of us are not going to come back from this, but we got to do it. Very like bardic inspiration moment.
I do appreciate that the whole misogyny protected by tradition that we got from meeting the waterbending master the last episode, who refused to teach Katara, is now her greatest champion.
Yes,
she's like, where he's like looking, he's like, that's all of you have. Katara's been here for a week and a half, and she can beat all of you.
Yeah, that guy did a full 180.
Yep.
Wouldn't it be nice if every time a guy was presented with like, look, you fucked up over here with this gal, and like this is the end result of that, so maybe change your worldview a little bit, worked as effectively as it did in this example? Like, what a fucking different world this would be.
I think that was the goal, was to teach an entire generation of children that.
Well, it's
so
been
that
like
they would
50
become
years.
adults.
So it's been like 15 years. So
yeah, I know.
Sure
well,
it's been.
Humans learn slowly, if at all.
If at all.
Yes. I think maybe the takeaway might be that like way more people needed to have watched the show.
Her skills have proceeded to a degree that I appreciate that he's like, it's like, I don't have much more to teach you. You have plenty of that you're going to have to teach Aang.
Right. Yeah. I think to date, Aang still struggles with reconciling his youth and his responsibility.
Largely, he does. Yeah, I think he expects a lot of things to come easy for him.
Right. And often that is true, which sets a lad up for some unrealistic expectations.
Especially since he's being told, well, you're the chosen one. So he's like, well, then I should be able to do all of this already. So why can't I? And then he has moments like he did in part 2 of this, where fucking wipes out the Fire Nation's navy.
Yes, he like, and that's
okay.
That's definitely like the where like the kid's story comes into play, is that like he always comes through essentially, even if he's dicking around too much in one episode. By the end, he's still super fucking powerful, and And really, truly, when shit hits the fan, he does take his responsibility seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also really smart. I don't think that we spend a lot of time noticing that or giving him credit for it necessarily, but
because he presents himself as the fool.
Yes, he does. Although I will say, so there's a moment in part 1 where he's like, I can't do this. I've taken out like a dozen ships, but it's not enough.
Right.
And so then he
because there's like 200 ships coming in.
Yeah, it's a whole fucking fleet. But he, he's feeling pressure to be successful in this, and I mean, obviously, and then he gets this idea that almost seems like a way to get him out of the responsibility. If I find the moon and the ocean spirits, they can deal with this, and then it's not all on me. So there is a little bit of like, oh, I'm going to try to get out of this, but it does end up resulting in like the right thing to have done to help the situation. So like, there's a term for that. Like, it's not like malingering, but lucky for sure. Like, oh, how can I get out of this? And then he almost stumbles into the answer.
He does survive a lot on luck. I think that where he communes with the spirit world and they bring in the spirits of both the moon and the sea, and bring up the fact that they left the spirit world willingly and have manifested in the physical world, where it's these two koi, and he takes on the aspect of one of the spirits when the first spirit is wounded. I forgot where the fuck I was going with this. It's fine. It'll come back. It won't come back. I won't. I don't. Yeah, it's completely gone. But I do appreciate that all of the other elements that went into this 2-part episode, like the reveal that Yue, the princess, had been saved at birth by one of the spirits, and duty to her people had been drilled into her since that day, that when it came time that a decision had to be made, and she's like, oh wait, I can actually fix this, and I'm the only one that can.
Although she also had a moment of like wanting to pass the buck. She
did, but she also knew and went, nope, I have to do this, and did that also means like that's hard on Sokka, because he had also gone, it's like, I know that I can't be with you. I know that you're betrothed to someone else. I don't know who this person is. And then he finds out and goes, oh, I'm going to kick the shit out of you. Rightly so, because it's like, nope, you're not even remotely worthy.
That's true. We learned that guy is like really mostly interested in her for the status that it brings him, and not much to do with her as a person.
Which again is commentary on, this is why this practice is shitty. But like, so we see that evolution. We also see Sokka, just as soon as he's presented the opportunity, he's not part of this tribe, and he's still the first person that volunteers for everything. It's like, we have a dangerous, I'm in. I hadn't finished saying what the dangerous mission was. Don't care. I'm in. And like, he's gone from this clumsy kid from the first episode to he knows what
he's fucking doing. Military advisor.
Yes,
is what he was in that moment. There aren't really any armies per se outside of the Fire Nation, but
Mhm.
I can really see Sokka's character like pursuing that path of like, look, I've been through some shit, and I'm pretty astute, turns out, and I can be here to tell you the ins and outs, the smart things to do, and the things that are going to get your men killed. So don't.
He assisted in a prison break for the Earth Nation from a Fire Nation prison. He has eluded Fire Nation armies and navies for months.
And he understands things about that army's leader.
Uh-huh.
Or that Navy's leader that like is invaluable information.
Yep.
He's still technically just a kid. He hasn't really had a lot of responsibility in his life outside of like trying to take care of his sister and his friend on this journey that they've been on, and he was reluctant to be a part of that.
I don't know that I agree with that statement. He has had responsibility for a long time. But it's
like
been
at home, that's very different.
Exactly, because when he was at home, his responsibility was he was the eldest male in his entire village.
I know you mentioned that, but do we know that for sure?
Yes, because he was the eldest male in the village because he was still older than all of the younger boys.
Right.
But he was still too young to go with the rest of the men when they went off to war.
Mm-hmm.
So like he was in that sweet spot where he's like, I can't
not
do
quite
anything.
A man and no longer a boy.
Right. So all of his responsibility has been mostly academic because the Fire Nation wasn't coming down there. Like
Right.
we learned that the Fire Nation was actively avoiding going to either one of the Water Nations. So like, this is going to be costly because yeah, we can go ahead and go in there and we've got a superior army, but it's in the ice and water, and we don't do well in either one of those things.
Also, oh my God, can we talk about how much shit about the water bending concept they just rolled out for us in the last 3-4 episodes?
Where water bending also refers to ice and snow.
Yeah.
No, but first
vapor.
There's healing, water healing.
Oh yeah, fuck that.
And then there's the fact that like literally any format of water, like solid, liquid, gas, you can manipulate that. And then that they derive their power from the moon. Like,
well, I mean, moon impacts tides.
No, I get it. It makes sense on an astral bodies sense, but I'm like, did they plan that, or did they like just drop it in there and they were like, this is a great idea? It just like felt so out of left field.
No, knowing animation, this was planned.
It felt like such a what is the name of the device? Is it Deus Ex Machina?
No, that wraps everything up neatly at the end.
Is that what that means? And it, not the point. Like, I don't want to get into that. It felt like this just like oh my God, words. We need a way for them to win. There's no logical way for them to win. So we just need to like shoehorn in this new level of ability of magic that like has never before been mentioned in any of the water bending lore. And it's what saves the day.
I'm sure that they did a lot of that world building in advance, like Aaron is saying. Like with animation, they kind of have to. It's not like live action where you can fudge things and go, oh, this has become a fan favorite. Let's change the script for the back half of this series.
Looking at you, Star Wars.
Wah, wah.
I'll never get over that. I will never not be. Anyway, not the point. No, that's fair. They. I'm sure they did actually map all of this shit out.
Mhm.
I guess what I'm really saying is that they did a good job to me of like not like showing too much of their hand and like
Mhm.
swooping in for the good story kill.
Yep. I think the other element in these two episodes that I really enjoyed was the rematch between Katara and Zuko,
Oh
Yeah.
where he's like, "Oh shit, you found a waterbending master because
yeah.
you didn't fight like this before, and now I'm having trouble." It's like this is actually a fight. Like
Right.
before, when he's fought her, it's like this is ridiculous. You know, like 3 things, and I know how to counter most of it without actually resorting to firebending. But this time around, she fucked him up.
Oh, we get to learn even more about Zuko's backstory.
Did we? What did we learn?
The sister stuff,
Oh, right.
right? That was the first time that was introduced.
That the sisters brought up. Yep.
And just in time. So he brings it up when he's talking to an unconscious Aang.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I have to remember.
An astral projecting Aang.
Yes. Well, no, he's not. I wouldn't call that astral projecting. Really?
His
Never
soul
mind.
has left his body and
Right,
is in a
to
different
go to the spirit world, not to like be somewhere else in the existing world or in this world. Never mind. I'm not gonna like get semantic with you about what astral projecting is. Ignore me.
Okay.
Tell it.
But yes, that is when Zuko reveals that his sister is the favored child of the 2 children of the Fire Lord Ozai. Is that his name? I think. AKA Mark Hamill.
And he talks about how like she was born lucky, a like fucking prodigy firebender,
Mm-hmm.
whereas Zuko was lucky to even have been born.
Yeah, that's what he said. His father said about both of them is that she was born lucky and he was lucky to have been born.
Which is, I don't know if you should say that to your kid, but if anyone's gonna do it, it's the Emperor of the Fire Nation.
Oh yeah.
Oh, trust me, it happens.
Yep.
I don't know that we need to unpack that right now.
Nope.
Okay. Fucking comment. Thanks, Scott. That's funny. That is funny.
No. Okay, well, we got to share this. It's only astral projecting if it comes from the astral region of France. Otherwise, it's just sparkling spooky.
I kind of like sparkling spooky.
I actually really enjoy that.
I feel like that's a good descriptor for some of the people that I know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go change my Twitter handle right now
to be sparkling spooky. Yeah. That's cute.
Right. So
it's like when you're goth, but with glitter.
Yeah.
Good job, Scott. That's a good one.
All this to say, like yet another sort of element to who Zuko is. He's, he's. I don't know who's older, him or his sister, but
his sister's older.
Okay.
There's some things that I already know about the show, and the sister's a piece of work.
Yeah, I can definitely see her coming in as like yet another adversarial character. May or may not be replacing Admiral Zhao. I doubt they'll work together. I don't see that happening.
Zhao is dead.
Is he dead? I mean, like the water spirit, like nabbed him,
Pulled
and
him underwater and drowned him.
but do we?
Like I said,
I'm
these 2 episodes had a body count.
Yeah.
Like they killed people in the Northern Water Nation. They killed Aang destroyed vessels. He sank them. There were people on them. Those people are dead. there
right.
are dead people in these 2 episodes. Like Yue was the only one that ended up getting a like foreshadowing Filoni's wanting to work on Star Wars. She faded away like a fucking Force ghost.
Yeah, that was very like, you know, land of mystical Asians, but
a little bit.
But it didn't bother me as much, I think, this time.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So if Admiral Zhao is dead, for sure, then that obviously opens the door. We need another bad guy character. So it's only obvious that they're introducing this sister as the new real bad guy, because we know that we've already established like 20 minutes earlier that they do not have a good relationship.
No.
I think it's safe to assume that they have always been in competition for you know, like the most love and or respect from their father, and we already know that Zuko does not have it.
I believe that the sister's name is Azula.
Okay, good. I didn't catch it at any point.
They didn't give it.
Okay.
But there's still a couple main characters that we haven't met yet. Azula is one of them. Toph is another. Both of them come in season 2.
Okay. And then the only other thing that like I really thought was noteworthy, maybe not noteworthy, but worth mentioning, I guess, in this episode.
It's the same thing.
I know. I was just gonna try to like move past it, but way to call me out. Is this what it's like, Aaron?
Yep. You get used to it. You just have to fucking roll with it. Just have to smile and be like, okay, and then you just keep pushing ahead.
Anyway, pushing ahead. I really enjoyed that that Uncle Iroh and Zuko had a moment in this arc. I don't think anyone who's watched the show up until this point would have doubted the fact that obviously Uncle Iroh like really cares about Zuko. He's been looking after him and supporting him, even when he's technically going against the Fire Nation and his father. But to see them have this moment of like, I look at you like as if you were my own son.
Mm-hmm.
That's just generally speaking nice to see, but also I think something that, again, like Zuko didn't need to be told to know it, but I think it was important for him to hear it.
Mm-hmm. I do agree with that. I'm starting to think that Iroh is in the position that he's in because he fell out of favor because of a major loss to the Fire Nation.
Mm-hmm.
The more we learn about Iroh and the more that we learn about Zuko and the Fire Lord, I really don't remember the Fire Lord's name. Ozai, I think. I don't know. Someone can correct me. It's fine. But the more we learn about them, the more that I think that Iroh is keeping up appearances so that he doesn't end up in a prison and or dead.
Spoilers.
And to protect Zuko. But I think what he's doing ultimately is that I think he's deliberately trying, like he deliberately lost whatever battle it was so that got him demoted. Because I don't think he agrees with what his brother is doing at all.
Okay, yes, it is. Fire Lord Ozai is his name. Ozai. So you have
Okay.
that correct. I can definitely see that. I have yet to see any real malice or even like disregard for the lives of others coming from Iroh. I would go so far as to say he's just like really a good guy in wolf's clothing.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
mean,
and it's
considering he tried to stop Zhao from doing what Zhao did.
mhm.
Um,
And he's always trying to like give like legitimately good counsel to Zuko and not just like what's best for the Fire Nation.
mhm.
Or like, what this isn't what your father would want. No, it's like really not an argument that he gives.
Usually his argument is like, you should sit down and play this game with me and drink more tea.
Yeah, like trying to make Zuko less of a shitty kid.
Yep.
Trying to undo the the hard, mean person that Zuko is trying to be or has been like play acting at for many years now because of his father. So yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see how that dynamic continues to play out, especially as like we can all assume Zuko is going to change.
Yeah, that's a safe assumption.
Any other thoughts about the end of the season?
Other than I need to catch up.
Yeah, you've only got a couple episodes. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think that I've got any other recap ones that I haven't already covered in the weeks that we've been talking about this. I don't think my issues with the show have gone away. They're just, I'm like, okay, I've stated them. I know what they are. They're sitting there unpacked right over there. So let me go ahead and focus on what story they're actually trying to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel invested in seeing the rest of this play out. I do know that there is a meta-textual episode in season 3 that will be like, not ever having watched the show. We've had it at work playing on the TV, and I'm like, is this what I think it is? And they're like, yeah, that's fucking ridiculous. I'm looking forward to actually getting to see this episode in context.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
How far away, though?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hilarious though. Like, even without the context, I'm just like, I get what they were doing, and that's really funny. So, which is apparently a very good break right until like you get halfway through the 3rd season. It's like, here's this episode, and everyone's like, oh, this is great. This is great for a laugh. And then the rest of the season happens. You're like, oh, okay, I needed that. Because then it gets heavy. Because clearly the latter half of the season, the 3rd season, is going to be all about the comet and changing the, Aang having to fulfill his destiny and ending the war with the Fire Nation. So,
right.
Who knows how that's all going to turn out?
No, yeah, I like knowing what we already know about like Dave Filoni's other work and just any other show that like starts off as a little bit of a slog, and then you start to pick up all of the nuances and like messagery that goes into it, and like we can project where this show is going, as conceptually anyway, and yeah, we know it's gonna get hard at some point.
Harder than it has been in its more revealing episodes already.
Right. Yeah, so they do a good job of priming you, like easing you into it.
Yep. Here, first one's free.
I'm not gonna like do any more euphemisms here.
Yeah, don't.
No.
Yeah. So I think we've got an extra 10 minutes before we wrap up the show. I want to revisit a couple things. And talk about things that are upcoming. One is Moon Knight starts next week.
I know, man.
So in like 2 weeks we can talk about that because
I'm very excited.
Oh no, wait! Sorry, I'm wrong.
No, I thought
it starts tomorrow. We'll be able to talk about it next week,
right?
Because it's the 30th. Today's the 29th. I lost a week. I don't know how that happened.
Oh, I know. Trust me.
Well, okay, fair.
Yeah.
I didn't. I have not read a single issue. Went out of my way to get my hands on some, and
it might be fun to go in completely dry too.
Yeah.
I suppose. I know from other stuff that we've spent time talking about that I do tend to get like a deeper understanding and a deeper enjoyment of these things when I have at least some of the back matter under my belt.
Sure.
Like I made it a point to watch those Deep Space Nine episodes before all the relevant stuff started happening on Picard.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
Yeah, it's true.
And lately, in the last couple of years, it has become my total jam to read the book before watching the thing.
Okay.
Totally fair.
Shout out to Station 11, by the way.
I have to check that out still.
It's a post-apocalyptic, post-pandemic type story. But it's the thing that makes it so good is just that the interconnectedness of people and their life choices.
Right.
Okay. Station 11.
Mm-hmm. It's on HBO. It's like a 10 or 12 episode miniseries, but it's based on a book. And I know like the pedantic like dumb shit thing to say is like, oh, the book was better. The show is really, really, really good. I dare say great, but it pales in comparison to the book in terms of like getting that message and receiving it and holding it in your body.
Interesting.
Seconded by Bex, looks like, and Scott. I don't know what Brad is laughing at, but yes, other people like it, not just me.
Nice. What was the other thing you wanted to say, Cable?
I wanted to remind folks that we are also wanting to crowdsource some movies for us to watch,
right?
So that we can make commentaries that will then be played in July.
Yeah.
While we take a month off.
Right. So you will get content, but we will take some time off.
Yes. So I think we wanted like one from each of the major genres, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
sci-fi,
that was the goal.
Rom-com. Is that one fantasy or just random pick?
Sci-fi, fantasy, horror, rom-com.
Okay. Yep. So I'll start putting that on the site too. Every time I upload a new show, remind folks and all that good stuff.
Super. And I think we wanted to receive these via email so that we can actually like compile.
Yes, like don't tweet at us. Don't put them in this chat here.
Don't DM us.
Yeah. It looks like. Oh, guys, Geek in the City Radio is never going to win local podcasts. It's just not how these things work anymore. I mean, go for it. Try to make us win. That'd be awesome. And I'll put a link, but like we're up against.
We're just not that popular, guys. And whose fault is that?
We are, but we're like up against Livewire.
Livewire?
Yeah, they record in Portland and they podcast it, and it's.
I don't even know what that is, so it can't be that popular.
It's on NPR.
It's on NPR. I kind of think it's unfair if your show is on terrestrial radio that you get to count your podcast in these things, but that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah,
That's like people in Wyden and Kennedy entering the 48-hour film festival. Like, come on. Anyway, there we go.
Yeah, let's not go down that rabbit hole because it'll become a whole thing.
I know that there's that whole, it's an honor just to be nominated. I don't care. I just want to do the work. I don't fucking care. I just want to do the work because if you focus too much on the accolades, then you forget the work that you're doing in the first place. And I know this is just a personal thing with me.
No, I'm right there with you. I mean, you guys all know my feelings about like award shows.
Yeah.
It's
just do the work.
Yeah.
That's all.
That being said, when comic award season comes out, it'd be kind of cool. I'm not going to be a hypocrite.
It would be great.
I'm not going to be a hypocrite, but I also feel like comic awards are one of the weird things that actually can help you get other jobs.
Yes.
Yeah.
right. Winning an award for this podcast is not going to get us more podcasts, and we probably don't want that.
No.
So let's word it this way: like, is it nice to get an award for the thing you do and love? Always. Is that why we're doing it? Like, never.
Nah.
If I cared about the opinion of the Willamette Week, sure. I don't.
Savage.
I do still feel like the Eisners are something that have there's relevance to the Eisners within the community that it serves, and it's still like not everything gets nominated that should, but a lot more of it gets nominated than you'd think.
Yes.
So it's not wholly a popularity contest.
No, it's not, which is nice.
So like I get that. That's a versus I don't know, almost any other award thing. So
yeah. I think that's a good place to wrap up.
Yep. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, thanks for listening. I hope I see folks out in comic book shops tomorrow. I might actually hit a bunch of them and just take myself pictures being like, hey, ha. Like
you should totally do a tour.
Yeah. Be like, and here we are. Yeah, I might do that. I can't hit all of them. Portland has. I am learning just how many shops Portland Metro has.
Don't wear yourself out, though. You're still mid-marathon.
I am. And mid other things, too. But yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, with all that, thanks for listening. I'm Aaron Duran.
I'm Bean Rita.
And I'm Cable Hashitani.
We'll talk to everybody next week. Bye.